basic principles of behavior, including antecedents, consequences, and skill deficits. We will briefly discuss an introduction to sensory needs. At the end of this session, you should be able to understand that all behavior is meeting a need. This will help to begin brainstorming ways to increase skill deficits and decrease challenging behaviors. First, what exactly is behavior? This question may be trickier to answer than you may think. We define behavior as anything that we can see a person actually doing. Examples may include walking, talking, writing on a piece of paper, or playing a musical instrument. Behavior not only includes the challenging behaviors that we often hope to reduce. It also includes skills such as asking for help, eating a meal independently, or playing with friends. Oftentimes, parents and teachers may assume that disabilities, such as autism spectrum disorders, can cause challenging behaviors. In actuality, disabilities can cause skill deficits. This may result in difficulties with communication skills, such as expressing one's needs and preferences. In addition, autism spectrum disorders may make it more challenging for individuals to regulate emotions. In turn, this can result in challenging behaviors, such as hitting, biting, or screaming. We certainly want to see a decrease in challenging behaviors. However, the most effective way to do this is to increase the individual's skills, particularly in the areas of communication and adaptive behavior. Our goal is to prevent challenging behaviors entirely by helping to improve the individual's skills. Oftentimes, the challenging behaviors occur because the individual does not have the skills to communicate their wants and needs. In addition, the individual may not see the immediate need of a request or activity. Behaviors may serve one of two functions or purposes. First, behaviors may serve the purpose of accessing or getting something. An example would be a toddler who constantly cries when his mother is on the phone. The purpose would be to access her attention. Another potential function or purpose of behavior is to avoid or delay something. For example, a child may throw his book to avoid doing his math assignment. In addition, the things we access or avoid can fall into three general categories: sensory, attention, or tangibles. Sensory experiences involve your senses. Examples can include music, touch, swinging, or spinning. We may want to either access or avoid sensory input. Examples we may try to avoid include bright lights, loud sounds, or unpleasant smells. Attention or social aspects are also important motivators for all of us. Some types of attention we may seek include eye contact, praise, high fives, guidance, support, and talking. However, there are times we may want to avoid attention. Ever sit in the back of the room of a classroom? This social aspect is particularly important to consider when thinking about individuals with autism. Often they may seek to avoid social situations. Some examples are crowds, group activities, conversation, or teasing. Tangibles are the final category. Tangibles may include objects and activities. Some tangibles we are likely to seek may be food, money, toys, or education. Examples we may try to avoid would be chores, unpleasant activities, or non-preferred foods. Now we will briefly discuss the sensory component. Unusual sensory responses and a lack of understanding by self and caregivers for sensory needs and aversions can lead to challenging behaviors. These may not always be obvious or easy to understand and may require some additional investigation. Sensory integration is how our bodies process information from all of our senses. This is how we organize and make sense of our surroundings. Input includes what we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. It also includes how we experience movement and gravity. The same items or experiences may be vastly different across individuals. For example, some people may love a certain smell or taste while others find it very unpleasant. Output refers to learning, interacting with others, and demonstrating knowledge. We receive feedback from this output, which can then affect our future input experiences. In addition, how our body responds to sensory input impacts our arousal levels. A certain experience, such as going to a social gathering, may be energizing for one individual, yet cause significant anxiety for another individual. Arousal states can be more easily described as our engine levels. We all move through periods of high, low, and just right throughout the day. Being at an extremely high or low level can make learning and attending very difficult. Most of us use sensory strategies to keep ourselves functioning without even being aware of it. For example, you may want to have something in your mouth, bounce or tap your foot, listen to music, or go for a run to calm yourself. Children with sensory issues may have a very narrow band of just right. This can result in difficulty finding and maintaining their optimal state. Self-regulation is the ability to maintain the appropriate level of arousal, attention, and alertness for the situation or task at hand. It not only includes what is needed to attend in learning, but also reaching appropriate levels in other tasks, such as falling asleep or getting up and going for the day. For example, many of us have sensory routines for waking up in the morning, such as having a cup of coffee and a shower. Our culture is typically understanding that younger children may have greater difficulty and need guidance with self-regulation. Our expectations increase as they get older. However, individuals with autism spectrum disorders may always need some additional support in self-regulation. This area is extremely individualized for each person. Next, we will review the ABCs of behavior. Antecedents are events or conditions that are present right before the behavior occurs. Examples include being prompted to complete a task, sensory overload, transitioning from a favorite activity. Behavior is anything we can see a person doing. Examples include screaming, flapping hands, and physically aggressive behaviors. Finally, consequences are the events or conditions that are present right after a behavior occurs. For example, the individual may be taken to a quiet room, the teacher raises her voice, or the individual gains more time on a preferred task. Returning to the ABCs of behavior, this analogy can be helpful in seeing how it all works together. Setting events may include a stressful environment, changes in routine, or physical states, such as being hungry, anxious, or angry. These set the stage for behavior and can be referred to as slow triggers. Antecedents are immediate triggers, such as being told to stop, being presented with a challenging task, or having sensory overload. Behavior is the bang, or any verbal outburst, physical aggression, or running away. Finally, we should consider the result or consequence. What did the individual obtain from this behavior? What did he or she avoid? Remember, if the person receives the intended outcome with their behavior, they learn that this behavior works. Then it is very likely that they will use the same behavior again unless you teach a better skill or change your response. Finally, we hope you have learned today that changing an individual's behavior begins with changing our own behavior. Organized and structured routines, as well as supportive environments, can minimize setting events. Our responses can actually maintain the very behaviors that we would like to avoid. As such, different consequences may be necessary to get the individual to use a different, more preferred behavior and obtain a desired outcome. Teaching new skills such as functional communication, sensory strategies, and improved ability to cope with frustration can help the individual as well. Please stay tuned and check the West Virginia Autism Training Center website for additional coaching sessions that can help you teach some of these skills. Thank you for your time, and please feel free to contact us with any questions.